Now, here we go. The 2018 Telstra Northern Territory Social Change Maker Award winner is... Purple House.
I did have a date and he stood me up, so I'm the only person here. Yeah, thanks. So we're actually Western Desert Ngunnawal Palin-Jaku Jutiku Aboriginal Corporation, which is why people call us the Purple House. And I tell our nurses they're not allowed to resign until they can say it and spell it. So that's our retention policy in a nutshell. Our story starts in the Western Desert, Kintore and Kirikura, hours and hours west of Alice Springs, the most remote part of Australia. And people there were really worried about their family members who had to leave their country and their communities and their families and their jobs to be in Alice Springs to get hooked up to a machine 3 times a week. And that was causing people great sadness and heartbreak and ill health. And so they said, well, why can't we have a machine in Kintore and then we can look after people ourselves? And they went and knocked on the doors of politicians, and the politicians told them to bugger off, that they were dreaming, that it was too remote, the water was no good, the power was no good, that they wouldn't be able to do anything as complicated as dialysis in a remote community. But people were really determined. So they painted some beautiful pictures. They had an auction at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Roy and HG were the auctioneers. This is November 2000, and they raised $1 million in one night. We have spent that $1 million. Kerry Stokes bought the Kirikura men's painting for $340,000. And so that was independent money, that wasn't government money. That meant that people could come up with a new model of care and give it a go. And so they designed a model of care that was all about family, about being on country, about looking after each other and holding each other close. So we did our first dialysis in Kintore in 2004, and people were doing really well. And so we started to get calls from other communities asking for help. So today we're in 14 communities across WA and the NT. We got about 200 people back to their communities on dialysis in the last year. And last weekend we took our purple truck, which is a big, beautiful purple truck with beautiful paintings on it. Now I know plenty about truck engineering, I can tell you. We got it up to Garma and dialysed everyone at Garma, including Jack Thompson, the actor, had dialysis on our truck. So please, if you're in Alice Springs, come and see us at the Purple House. We love visitors. There's always something crazy going on. People knock on the door and say, I'm looking for a dialysis house, and this sounds like you're having a party. It's the only dialysis centre that we know of where people come on their non-dialysis days to hang out with us. I'm chief chin plucker and toenail cutter. And we do all sorts of things. We've got a bush medicine business where the dialysis patients make bush medicines, and we're Oxfam traders. We've got an online shop. We have old American tourists. I apologise in advance for anyone in the audience who's from America. We have old American tourists who come in buses to the Purple House in Alice Springs to come and visit us. And often it's overseas adventure travel, but they are all old American tourists. And sometimes we're cooking tails at the Purple House. And this one day, people came over and the patient said, come over here and have a look at this. So the tourists got very excited and came over to the fire. And this one American tourist said, how long do they take to grow back? Now, the first time I got this question, I went, "No, I'm really sorry, they don't grow back." And she said, "Don't they all fall over?" To which I replied, no, people eat the whole kangaroo. This is just like the party food." And they all started to squeal with horror. So now when I get that question, I just say 2 to 3 weeks. I worked out we'd had 1,000 old American tourists at $10 a head through the Purple House in a year, and now about half of them think that kangaroo tails grow back like lizards. I should say our directors are absolutely fabulous people who are out bush doing their own thing, who will be incredibly proud of this tonight, so thank you.
Congratulations. Brilliant speech.
The 2018 Telstra Northern Territory Business of the Year is Purple House.
A fantastic year. I was saying it feels like we're up to the next level on the Game Boy. I got invited to the lock-up in Canberra, and I got to hear the Health Minister announce significant increase in funding to us, but also more significantly, from the 1st of November, a new Medicare item number which will cover a dialysis done in a very remote community by a nurse or an Aboriginal health worker. So if you think, after years and years of piecing together bits and pieces of funding, of more Rotary chicken dinners than I could ever imagine having eaten, this means that if we've got the machines out bush and people who want to be home on country, we can collect Medicare dollars for each of those dialysis treatments. So that's something. It's based on our model, a model that was designed in the very most remote part of the Northern Territory and is our gift to remote Australia. So you can imagine, I'm getting phone calls from all over remote communities in WA and SA and the NT and South Australia asking for help. And we're looking at maybe the first underground dialysis unit in Coober PD. What do you reckon? So to Telstra, and the other thing that happened this week is I got a phone call from the Australian Financial Review to say that I'm on their True Leaders list for 2018. And I did say, God, how did I manage that? And they said, well, we can't tell you, Sarah, but it's a very big deal. And I'm up there with Sir Frank Lowy and the fellow who's doing the Banking Royal Commission at the moment. So go figure. So I think the other thing is that the Northern Territory is a bloody fantastic place with people who are incredibly creative and determined. And, you know, if you can't take the bitumen road somewhere, you take the bush track, which is the car you go when you're driving an unregistered car with no licence, and you want to stop to grab some lizards on the way. It's the pretty way, but it gets there in the end. And I think we should all be really proud of ourselves. So thank you.
Congratulations.